Yeah, I thought UMass was, the highlights kind of special teams. We had three explosive returns, and punt team made a game-changing type play again, down the ball inside the one. Aiden continues to be, really, really solid performer for us. And they gave offense the starting field position in the first half, 45-yard line, minus 45, which is good. Thought Treadwell played really well on special teams. Negatives, we had a loose ball on the ground, which we can't afford to do, and I just thought we were kind of sloppy in the second half there. Defensively, held them to 233 yards of offense, which is really good. 8 3-and-outs, 11 TFLs, 6 sacks, and the biggest highlight probably from the previous week to this one, we were 95% on third down, which is incredible. So we got one takeaway and really should have had two, in my opinion. But negatives, we gave it 3 explosive plays that really resulted in their 10 points. And the other 14, one was on the offense, and one we kind of had all our reserves in, and good to see them get in the game. Didn't think our effort was great in the second half, or to the standard of what our defense has been playing. We had one play in particular that really kind of signifies that to me. Dre Butler has an outstanding track on retracing and running to the ball, knocks it loose, and we had 4 other guys that if they were playing with the same intensity that they do most of the time, we probably recover that. Offensively, positives, we averaged 15 yards a catch, had 15 explosive plays. We're 5 of 6 in the red zone for touchdowns. Should have been 6 for 6. 2-minute drill was very, very efficient, and I thought our tempo was very good when we went fast. Negatives is we continued to haunt ourselves with slow starts in both halves, which is frustrating as heck. And we had a fumble that resulted in a touchdown, and we were 0 for 2 on fourth down. So it was, and we just continue to do things that really put us behind the chains or don't get us in a position where we're in second down and we can get into our normal tempo offense. And we've got to continue to work and get better. We didn't play particularly well at 2 spots in the offensive line. And at quarterback, we were a little slow starting also. But again, our kids found a way to win on the road, and to get us one step closer to bowl eligibility, and excited to be back home to play here at home for 2 straight weeks. That's going to be really, really nice. Looking forward to that. Man, I told our team this morning, I wish I'm going to fight like heck this week, man. They're going to see a very determined staff that is determined to not see us when everybody would say, hey, it's your FCS opponent, you should probably win this. I honestly believe that this team we're getting ready to play is as good, if not better, in their totality than last week's opponent. If you watch their game against Coastal and against Marshall, it's concerning. 2 really good defensive linemen, and 1 and 47. We wanted 47. One is really, really good. Big, strong, active in the secondary. Really well coached. Very different than last week's, but man, these guys know what they're doing. All 11 are on the same page, and they are in the right spots. And so it's their front is one of the strengths of their team on the defensive side. I'm impressed. I don't know Coach Lamb personally, but impressed with the way his kids play. Really impressed with his offensive scheme. Now, look, he does a lot of things. You're looking at polecats and trick plays, and watch his games against a group of 5 opponents like Marshall and Coastal, and it's there's a lot of stuff going on with him trying to give his kids a chance to win a football game that would have significance for them. And so we're going to have to do a lot of planning for having to adjust and align to a lot of the stuff that we see on there. But impressed with the job that they do, and both offensively and defensively. I haven't watched special teams, but so far I'm impressed with what I see on film. Coming off a big win too, so they'll have some confidence.
How would you, 6 weeks in, now halfway through, how would you assess your team in the first half of the season?
I'm our worst critic to our coaching staff and to our players. Obviously, I am thoroughly pleased with the grit that our team has shown, the ability to stare injuries, adversity a little bit on the road, some good teams, and to find a way to have a chance to win every one of them that we've been in. I think we deserve an A++ for that. And so the grit, the leadership, the belief, the adjustments, all of that, I think we've been pretty good at that. The consistency in doing things that should be our base, that give us a chance to have more efficiency, we're not there yet. And is that because of some constant turnover at different spots? I don't know. In particular, quarterback one. Not really sure, but it's frustrating to watch with the team this morning. I watch a negative reel with our offense every Monday morning. The entire offense, the entire staff of things, and I put my negatives on there too. I had 2 bad calls in this game. I mean, that was just, a guy that coaches as long as I have, you don't want to look at that film and see, man, we had 2 calls that were schematically had 0 chance at working. Let me say I have one for sure that had 0 chance. The other is actually a good call if I had repped it with the kids, the look that they saw, but we had not. And so it's hard to say that you can expect great results when you hadn't shown them a look that was a weird look. Schematically, it can work, but you'd have to practice it. So I had 2 calls like that, so I have to own that in front of them, and then they have to own why in the world are we – how do we not get this one right? We repped it 13 times this and and those are the ones that again, A++ for grit, belief, adjustments, culture, fun to be around, all of that. I just don't feel like we've been corporately as a team. Defense has been pretty solid, other than the 3rd down plan at Old Dominion and our pass defense at Akron, which again they had a really good plan. It was different than what we had saw. Other than that, they've been pretty dang good. But offensively, in particular, we just have been inconsistent at some of the things that we really should be getting right. So that's my synopsis. But we're 5-1. That trumps everything. You don't. We celebrate being in that position and relish another opportunity to try to get the 6th win this Saturday. But it will not be given to us. We'll have to earn it.
What can you contribute to those slow starts offensively?
Did you just listen to my 10 minutes of?
I did.
I had no clue. If I did, I would have had it fixed by now. But we'll continue to work at it.
Because you scored touchdowns on your first drive twice.
We scored touchdowns on every single drive where we won first down, and once we finally won first down, and could get into our tempo stuff. Our tempo stuff, we averaged 9 yards a play on. We just but you got to win first down, and we should have won more than we didn't the other day, but it was really us. So I've just got to keep working.
mentioned last week an update on Charlie Brewer. Is he any closer this week?
Man, we got a whole list if y'all want to talk about all of the so that y'all don't have to report stuff that's may or may not be. Charlie is working. Charlie's chomping at the bits to play. I believe his doctor's appointment is Wednesday. I talked with the doctors all weekend, and as soon as he can fully grip a football and we feel like he can be trusted to take care of the ball, they're going to release him to play. They think structurally the thing is, but his hand's been in a cast for several weeks, so it's not as functional as normal. And so that's his work every day now. It's just hand strengthening, and he threw some yesterday, and he's going to throw some today, and see how he feels. But you can rest assured he's going to be, as soon as he is given the green light, he's going to want to challenge and push the envelope to play. And whether that's this Saturday or next Saturday, I don't really know, but I anticipate it being one of those two, just from talking to him and the docs. So I believe that. CJ Daniels, we have made a decision to try and redshirt him. We think that'd be better for the future of our program and him, to get him fully healthy. We're 6 games in. He's played in 2, so he can still play in 2 more. We'll kind of judge that based on the health of that room as we continue to go. We've also done that with Deion Biggins and with Jalen Jimerson, trying to redshirt those guys also. Chase Mitchell, trying to redshirt him and Harrison both, if we can. Just trying to build for the future, and we believe that's the best for the young man and for our team. So I'm not sure who else, but that's just so you know, when they're not out there. It has nothing to do with more injuries. CJ, we had a talk with he and his family, and he's not 100%, and really would just like for him to, because I think he's a phenomenal player and a great teammate, will be on our culture council, and I want him around here some more years, and let's get him healthy enough where he can take that brace off and go full speed by next year. So that's the plan there.
Thoughts on how Christian Zachary, Steven Sings performed?
Solid. There was all the grades on the D line were pretty good. I thought they played hard. I thought C.J. Bazile did some good things. We're going to need him the next few weeks as Trayshawn recovers. So I thought they were pretty solid. Everybody was graded 80% or above in the D line, so that was good to see.
Would you like to redshirt Bazile, or is it just matter?
Well, it's not too late yet. I believe that was game 1 for him. So that one's to be determined, based on health and. So I like to redshirt as many as I can. But sometimes the red shirts are better in year 2, 3, or 4 if you have injuries or something. So it's all, you just have to take every, right now, the ones I mentioned are the ones we're attempting to. CJ, Rashad Purnell, some of those, we'll have to see how we go health-wise. Rashad he's going to get reps this week in practice. But we'll see, how the season goes. But we're not afraid to play any of them in at least 4 games for sure.
All right, after the end of last year and the way the regular season finished up, you said at one point, did we put too much on getting bowl eligible and took our foot off the gas? Do you approach that any differently, knocking on the door now?
Well, I hope we're 1 year more matured. I just don't know else how to approach a season when you're not. Look, I'm a realist. You're not in the national championship discussion, probably only on a given year right now in the current format. I would say, 4 teams, 5 teams, 6 teams at the most are really involved in that, and the rest of us are fighting to get bowl eligible and give our kids and our administration, our school, and our fans that opportunity, which means something around here. I don't know about other places, but for us, it means something. And so I don't know. We're not in a conference. We're not playing for the national championship. So that has to be the goal. That has to be, how do we get to that? And, should we gain that, in the next couple of weeks, that's great. Obviously, I'm confident that I have a way to approach the others, and maybe we're a little more mature. But the schedule gets pretty dang difficult, so it may not be an issue that, well, they didn't handle it right, they were bowl eligible. I don't know that I'm going to buy into that. And when you're playing teams like BYU, Virginia Tech, and better UConn and Arkansas, in that second half on the road in some of those where conditions could be a little different than what our kids are used to. So I won't buy into all of that, but I'm confident. I like the way we're approaching it. I think it's important to put next year it'll be a little different. Yeah, we want to be bowl eligible. We want to win the conference too.
I think I counted 9 different guys with rushing touchdowns for Gardner-Webb. You mentioned they had some trick plays and things. Does that contribute to some of that?
I haven't watched enough to be able to tell you how all 9 scored their touchdowns. I don't. Yesterday is spent with me watching most, getting a full grasp of who they are defensively, and then I get started on Monday morning, just getting all the others. So it's I'm not quite ready to say how they all scored their touchdowns, but I am impressed with he fights to give his kids a chance to win games.
To ask you about how's TJ's knee doing this, I guess, after getting some reps Saturday?
Yeah, he was good this morning. I thought his knee functioned okay. I thought he was just really gassed, and he went 3 straight carries, and he's needing a break. So Coach Dom and them got to get him caught up conditioning a little bit.
I was like, it's not going to be instantaneous for him getting back into the flow of things, but as you start getting him more incremental reps, how much better is that running back room going to be now that you can get, Day and Shadro some blows with a guy who's been able to do it?
Well, depth is incredibly valuable when you're going through a 12-game season, particularly with the second half physical games we're going to have. So it also, if we're able to stay healthy there, we originally at the beginning of the year had a plan for Shadro to play some slot too, to give us DeMario a bit of a break there, and that it really would help if we got TJ back healthy, and that would help with us redshirting CJ, where we can move Javion around and we can have Shadro doing some of that too. So it would be great for us to get him fully healthy and ready to go.
Coach, we got Dave Friedman online from Gardner-Webb. I think he's got a few questions for you. Dave, you want to unmute yourself and go ahead?
Yeah, hey, Coach, appreciate you taking a couple of minutes.
Yes, sir.
Philosophically, offense and defense as a program as a whole, who is Liberty? What, when things are working really, really well, are you guys doing?
I would say for all my years of coaching, offensively, I would say people would think of us as a balanced tempo offense where we try to run and throw pretty equally. And our answers are based in the RPO game typically. So defensively, I think we're an aggressive movement type defense that tries to create negative plays.
And how well have you succeeded in doing those things so far this year?
Defensively, pretty good. Offensively, at times really good, and at other times very inconsistent.
What would you say about this particular team that is special that we might not see with other squads?
Yeah, I think it's hard unless you've seen all the games to really understand this team truly has grit and toughness and belief, and really believe in playing the 60 minutes and seeing what the scoreboard says. I think that's very hard for anyone to judge unless you're at all the games.
When you look at your quarterback room and you've played 4 different guys, how would you kind of describe each of those guys in not only just the way they play, but everything else that goes into quarterback? Who's responsible for protection calls and kind of the nitty-gritty with each of those 4 players?
Well, our quarterbacks are responsible for the protection calls no matter who's in there. And we've got to be able to coach them on how to get yourself protected. so they're all responsible for that. I mean, they're all different. Charlie, I didn't get to see, but 2 series. So I don't have the full. I like him. Obviously, I named him our starter, but I don't hadn't had any games with him really where we get tested together and see how we respond. Caden is obviously, I think, going to be a really good player, really good quarterback. Has shown flashes of really good stuff, and has shown flashes where he didn't quite protect the ball like he should, but that he's young. JB is probably he's the more veteran, been around us a long time, should understand how things should go pre-snap and post-snap. Has been a little more inconsistent than I would have had imagined, but seems to settle in too some. And he settled in kind of during the second quarter the other day, and I thought was pretty solid other than the start of the third quarter for the remainder of the game. Nate throws a really good deep ball, struggles mightily on the intermediate ones, it seems, and hopefully we can help him get that fixed. But I've said it all along that we had 4 guys that I thought could come in and we could compete with, and it's proven to be true. I don't like the fact that we've had to do that. I think it's really been an adjustment on our entire team offensively to try to do it, but yet we find ways to, score the 35, 38, 42 points or so that allows us to win games, or the 20 that it took to beat UAB or whatever it was. But so thankful for all 4 of them.
Who would you say have been the MVP of the offense and the defense so far, and why?
Oh, boy. I don't know. You'd probably have to point toward DeMario and Day-Day on offense as being, I wouldn't call anybody MVPs yet. But I would say that they've been pretty consistent in creating explosive plays for us. Defensively, Mike Smith's been pretty solid. Ahmad Walker, Scruggs, the whole D-line, Kenny Charles probably has stood out, maybe a little more than the others, but I'm pleased with all of them.
Appreciate your time, Coach. Best of luck in your preparation.
Thank you.
To ask you about JB, how do you, you mentioned 2 series, didn't look great, but settling in, didn't chase the ghost. What do you want to see out of him this week as he prepares for Gardner?
I mean, I've seen it in most practices. He usually prepares pretty well. He's still inconsistent in some of his throws in practice, but he typically has the decision right. Like if you're supposed to throw a swing on a loaded box, he typically gets that right 100% of the time in practice, but yet start of the third quarter, the very first play, we have exactly what we want. DeMario's probably going to run for 15 yards before he ever encounters an unblocked tackler, and we're off and running with our tempo, and he doesn't throw it. And, those are mysteries to me. And so just continue to rep the base package of how we're going to get started so that we can get in, whether it's our landmarks or whether it's our shot plays or whether it's our tempo, that we feel the freedom to call those. It's hard to call those when you're in 2nd and 10 and you're thinking, man, I got to get this in 3rd and manageable. Your whole call sheets, a bunch of it's gone. You're just back to your 1st and 10 calls, and that's not always going to be the recipe for great success.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
All right, thank you.